Today we're going to be making a fall festive drapey cowl. This cowl uses one ball, so approximately 300 yards, and this is a roving style yarn. It's super soft. It changes colors on its own, but you of course can use whatever yarn that you want to make this drapey fall cowl. For the beginning part of this tutorial, just the stitch pattern, I'm just going to be using some 4-weight acrylic yarn in this green color. This is all that I have left from making my first cowl, and I didn't want to run out in the middle of filming the stitch pattern portion of this. So we're just going to go with this green, and when I get to the point that we join the two ends together, if you wanted to turn this into a cowl, we will be back to this color. To start, for this cowl, I am using a 5.5mm crochet hook. For the tutorial, like I said, I'm just using the 4-weight yarn. So to start, we are going to work a stitch multiple of 4 plus 2. So I'm going to start with a slip knot on my hook, and then I'm just going to chain a multiple of 4. So you're going to work 4 chains, 2, 3, 4, another 4 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've got 8 chains. Let's do another 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 12 chains. I'm going to work one more, 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 16 chains, and then I'm just going to add an additional 2. For the cowl pattern, if you're working the exact cowl pattern that I will show you at the end of this video and that you saw in the beginning, you want to work a total of 36 chains plus 2, so 38 total chains to start your foundation chain. For row 1, we're going to work a double crochet in the 4th chain away from the hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to work a double crochet right into that stitch. We're going to work a double crochet into the next stitch or chain. Into the next stitch, we're going to work 1 double crochet, chain 3, and then 1 double crochet right back into that same chain. We're going to skip a chain, and we're going to work a double crochet into the next 2 chains. So skip a chain, double crochet in the next, and double crochet into the next. Into the next chain, we're going to work our double crochet, chain 3, double crochet right into that same chain. We're going to skip the next chain and work a double crochet into the next, and a double crochet into the next, and then into the next chain we're going to work our double crochet, chain 3, double crochet, all in that same chain. You should have 4 chains left. We're going to skip the next one. We're going to work a double crochet in the next 2, so double crochet in the next, double crochet into the next. We've got 1 chain left. We're just going to work 1 double crochet into that last chain. So you kind of have something that looks a little bit like this. For row 2, we're going to start with a chain 5 and turn. Into each of those spaces, so into each of those chain 3 spaces across, we're going to work 3 double crochets, chain 3, and a double crochet all into that chain 3 space. We're going to skip to the next chain space and do the same thing. 3 double crochets, chain 3, and 1 double crochet in that space. I've got one more on my row. You may have many more. Here's our last chain space. We're going to do the same thing. Work our 3 double crochets into that space, chain 3, and a double crochet into that space. We've got 1, 2, 3, and our turning chain on the end. Into the top of that turning chain, we're going to work 3 double crochets. So as closest to the top of the turning chain as you can get, put your hook in and work your 3 double crochets into that same turning chain, and that will finish row 2. Row 3 is the entire pattern repeat. So you just repeat this next row 3 over and over and over and over again until you have a length that you're happy with, or until you finish the ball of yarn and you want to join the 2 ends to make a cowl. So for row 3, we're going to start with a chain 5, turn, and we're going to work 3 double crochets into that space. So you're going to skip over all of those double crochets, find that first chain 3 space, work 3 double crochets into that space, chain 3, and double crochet in the same space. Jump to our next chain 3 space and do that again. 3 double crochets, chain 3, and double crochet into the same space. I've got one more space left and then my chain 5, so we're going to work our 3 double crochets right into that chain 3 space, that last one on our row, chain 3, and double crochet into the same space. And now we're at the end. You're going to work into the top of the turning chain. Since this was a chain 5, the technical top of the turning chain is probably going to be one of these 2 stitches near that first double crochet. I always like to put it one away just to get a little bit more of a straight edge. Some people go right in the middle, like the 3rd stitch. I like to go maybe the 4th stitch, and we're going to work 3 double crochets into the top of the turning chain. So into the 3rd or the 4th stitch from the bottom of that chain 5. Kind of depends on your tension too and how straight of a line that you're looking to get, but I wouldn't go any further than like the 3rd. And like I said, I like to do the 4th chain up only because we've got 3 double crochets that we're working in that one stitch. So if you go too far into one of these, it will start to kind of bow out that way. So that is the pattern. You are just going to repeat row 3 over and over and over again. If you're going to join this into a cowl, I suggest leaving a little bit of yarn at the very end to seam up the sides, and we will talk about that in just a minute when I come back and show you how to join this into a cowl. But it's a super easy, quick, fast working stitch, and it's great for beginners And those of us that really love the granny stitch but want to kind of mix it up a little bit so that you're sort of offset granny clusters in this pattern. Makes it a super quick, fun, unique looking piece. So once we work up the entirety of our project and we need to join the two seams together, let's take a look at how we do that. Now once you get to the end of your very last row, you're going to work it in the same way. You're going to end with those 3 double crochets at the very end. And now we want to join the two ends together to make a cowl. So to do that, you're going to lay your work out flat, all in the same way. So don't twist anything at this point, just lay it out flat. You're going to find the starting edge. You're going to bring your working end to that edge, and now you're going to twist it. So you're going to take your working spot here, it's on the bottom left corner for me, and I'm going to make it in the top right corner. So I'm just going to flip it like this. So now my working end is at the top over here to meet that end, and the other end of that row is going to be down here, and it'll give you a nice twist. So I'm just going to leave that twist alone for now. I don't want to mess up what I'm working on here. We're just going to join, and you can join in any way that you want to. You've got a nice edge here, and you've got your working edge here facing you. You can fasten off and sew the two edges together if you prefer that method. You can slip stitch the edges together. You can single crochet the edges together. Once you've lined up your two edges, and this is how much yarn I have left, because I'm going to be recreating sort of that pattern that we've been working, I wanted to have plenty of yarn left to work those double crochet stitches. If you're just going to single crochet or slip stitch, you won't need as much as if you work like a pattern with those double crochets. So I finished my last row. We have those 3 double crochets on the bottom. I've turned this corner to go to the opposite diagonal corner. I'm going to start with a chain 3, pick up that back panel, and in the first stitch or the first space between double crochets, I'm going to just slip stitch in there just to join our two edges, and then I'm going to work 3 double crochets into the first space. So not this space here, but that first chain 3 space on your front side. You're just going to work 3 double crochets as if we're working the pattern. I'm going to go to my back panel now, and from the top, so not the edge facing the other front side, but if they lay flat, I'm going to go in from the top, and you want to skip this sort of V-stitch right here. You want to go into the next space, and I'm going to go in from the top into that space, and I'm just going to slip stitch through to join. So that's how we're looking so far. I'm going to jump to the next chain 3 space on my front panel and work those 3 double crochets. On the back panel, I'm going to skip this V-stitch and go into the space right next to it from the front. And this does get a bit fiddly, especially with this roving yarn. And pull that through, so not in that V-stitch. That is the bigger space, but we're going to go into the space right next to it and just pull up. If I can do this on camera, put your hook in from the top and pull that through everything. Skip to your next chain 3 space on the front panel and work 3 double crochets. In from the top of the back panel. So I'm going to skip that V-stitch and work into the next stitch, and I'm just going to pull up my yarn from the top and through. So you're kind of matching up those double crochets on both sides to join. I'm going to keep working this all the way across, and I will show you how to finish up at the very end in just a second. Alright, so I'm at my last chain 3 space, working my last 3 double crochets into that chain 3 space on my front panel. We're going to go to the back panel. I've got one more space right next to that kind of the V looking stitch. I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch into that space as I've been doing. We've got our last chain here, and at the end we've been working 3 double crochets into the top. So I'm just going to work 2 double crochets, and then I'm going to grab that end stitch and slip stitch. Whoops. Let's try that again. So I'm going to work 2 double crochets into that last stitch, and then find the last stitch on my back panel and just kind of slip stitch into it, and then work my final double crochet into the front panel, and you've seamed up the 2 together. You can go ahead and fasten off. Weave in all of your ends, and then we'll take a look at this really nice drapey fall flame colored cowl. Let's go ahead and put our cowl on the mannequin. And I just draped it right on, and it still looks fine. It's super drapey, super nice, wonderful stitch pattern. And the best part is you only need 1 ball of yarn to make this, but you can make this into a longer scarf just by adding extra rows for as long as you want to go. You can even turn this pattern into a blanket with the stitch multiple and just make this a very large drapey blanket. Really nice pattern for so many different projects. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!